Well, what's described as the Junior Indaba in the mining sector, taking place from the 3rd of June. Joining us is the chairman of the Junior Indaba, Bernard Swanepoel. Is there a branding issue here because of the big Cape Town Indaba? Are you allowed to call yourselves the Little Mining Indaba?
We'll have their lawyers all over us.
So you're not calling yourself that. Tell us about this Indaba and why it's important, and is there a lot of interest in it?
There's actually a lot of interest, quite surprisingly. I suspect it's lonely out there, and I suspect the juniors are looking for a place where they can come together and share some of this sort of distress. Obviously, funding is a key focus for juniors, and there is just no funding opportunities right now. To some extent, juniors are affected by regulatory uncertainty differently to the majors, but still. And so these are the types of issues we will discuss. We'll create a platform for interaction, and then ultimately we'll talk about how should we as the junior sector be represented.
How do you think that might work?
It's hard because historically, and certainly even in my days at Harmony, we facilitated and assisted the creation of SAMDA, but SAMDA is not to the satisfaction of all juniors. Juniors don't feel particularly comfortable there. The Chamber of Mines have got a very useful desk for juniors, but not all juniors feel comfortable there. And hopefully out of all of that we can find a way. Last year at our Indaba in Joburg, the minister said to us, there were lots of questions from juniors, and he said, well, I would love to listen to the juniors,
Is he coming to this?
Unfortunately not. He's otherwise occupied in Cape Town at the World Economic Forum. The Chief Inspector will be there, the President of the Chamber of Mines would be there, and so it's an A-list of people who care about the junior sector. What
do you think is going to be top of mind? What is the thing that people really want to get discussed? First on the list.
For a junior, it's always funding. Where's my next dollar coming from?
How does a discussion like this help people think about that?
I think we need to talk about the importance of the junior sector. I think, for example, in South African coal, as an outsider, I would say it's the absence of a junior sector, which means there are now no ready-made projects for the majors or for anybody else. And as a country, we're going to see that problem come to fruition. So the importance, the state of the junior sector, and then we need to debunk some myths. There's a myth that South Africa is well endowed and all we need to do is give out mineral rights and mining will happen. But of course, if you don't create the climate for funding, and especially funding of exploration and juniors, then...
And you're saying that climate is not right now?
I'm not aware of any easy access to funding right now. But the mining industry is cyclical. Commodity prices are down, majors are cutting back, and therefore, that's what you would expect. That's also a good time to take stock and to talk about a future when perhaps next time we do things a little bit better. And all stakeholders have to play a role in that. You cannot regulate the junior sector exactly the same way you regulate the majors.
Looking at some of the big companies, they're cutting back. Amplats is trying to sell some of its mines. Lonmin is retrenching. Those are what you'd call the senior miners, I suppose. Same pressures on the junior miners.
And even more so. Because juniors typically are single asset companies, and so if you're in coal and
one basket, one egg.
Yeah, exactly, one basket, one egg, and it's not a good time for that. And so juniors typically don't have the balance sheets. Juniors often have not yet migrated to a stock exchange where they've got access to shareholders, etc. And so whatever you see on the stock exchange for major companies, major mining companies, it is just amplified and worse for the juniors.
You yourself, as you mentioned, we've had many interviews when you were head of Harmony in a different kind of role now. What have you learned and what do you bring to this sector from your previous work?
I'm not sure a lot. I'm there to learn. I will be facilitating some of the conversations, but I certainly don't think it is that easy to translate lessons learned in the majors. I do think the regulatory environment is very, very hard for juniors. A junior company can't just have 80 people in a compliance department. Often a junior company exists of a few geologists. And so that to me alone is such a shift and such a difference that I'm there to learn in the next 2 days.
Well, the next 2 days should be fascinating. That was the chairman of the Junior Indaba, Bernard Swanepoel.